My sister, 34 female, is 12 years older than I am, 22 male. As a result, we barely had any sort of relationship growing up. By the time I could actively form relationships with people, she was not around, and during holidays and vacations where she was around, she would basically ignore me. I can vividly remember her actively ignoring me when I was a child. At 16, I pretty much gave up on even trying to talk to her, and as a result, I do not consider her family, if I'm entirely honest. We have no relationship. I probably know most acquaintances better than I know my own sister. The only thing that enforces us to even spend time in the same room is the fact that we share the same parents. To bring home the point as to how not close we are, I do not even have a number. Now, ever since I moved off to college, 4 years ago, I have been actively avoiding her when visiting my parents, as in finding out whether she will be there and not going if she is, and going if she isn't. She has had 3 kids since I moved to college. They are 1, 3, and 4. I found out from my parents and sent her a card after each birth as a way to be nice, for familial form. But I honestly do not give a damn, as I do not consider her family. I have never met these kids and have no plans to meet them. I obviously won't treat them badly when I inevitably do. But I also feel I have no reason to pretend I will be a part of their or their parents' lives. Last week, I decided to visit my parents for the weekend. Unknown to me, my sister was also there, but her husband and kids were not. They live an hour from my parents, so visit quite often. I greeted her, but beyond that, I was only there to spend time with my parents. I know sounds weird, but we're used to it, and she acts the same. Late on the Saturday evening, while I was in the living room, my sister approached me and said she wanted to talk. I told her to go ahead, which is where she said she wanted me to come and visit her home, meet her kids, and see her husband. Last time I saw him was at her wedding, where his brother was the best man, and I was to be seated in the back and was only seated at the family table because my parents demanded it, and she wants me to be a more active part of their lives. I looked at her and told her for the last 22 years, she has pretended I basically do not exist, and as it stands, I do not now, nor ever want to be a part of her life or her kids' life beyond greeting her. She seemed offended and said I ignored her too, so I pointed out the difference is that she has been ignoring me since I was born, and I only gave up 6 years ago and told her she owes it to herself. Well, she started crying and I went to bed. My parents have since asked me to reconsider, which is why I'm here, since as you can imagine, the entire situation is very painful for them. As such, judge me. Not the P. She's allowed to reach out and you're allowed to decline, but I think you could reconsider. If I were you, I would ask her why the change of heart. Give her a chance to make amends. Not because she deserves it at all, but because being an uncle or an aunt can be rewarding and a lot of fun. And also being able to visit your parents without minding if your sister is around sounds great too. You could be depriving yourself of a great chance to connect with those kids. Have a big sister and make your parents happy. But if it seems like she's just trying to get something from you or use you, then you can just stop trying. If she's trying to mend the relationship, you can try too. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. Maybe your sister is trying, but as of now she has provided no explanation or apology for the way she treated you for your entire life. And even if she does, you are under no obligation to change anything about how you interact with her. Your interactions are really strange though. It's normal for siblings to not be close if they are far apart in age. But this is a whole new level of not close. Okay, so your entire life she ignores you or actively tries to snub you. Your parents actually had to fight to get you seated at the family table at the wedding. Now all of a sudden it's, but my precious babies. She's not doing this for you. She has no independent interest in you. This is because she sees some advantage for her kids and quite possibly herself. I wouldn't be surprised if she's sizing you up to act as a babysitter or nanny. Assholes don't change their spots. Don't trust this. Not the a-hole. Just to offer a little perspective for you, I'm a woman with a little brother who is 11 years younger than me. I loved hanging out with him when he was little. I turned 16 when he was 4 or 5, and I would sign him out of school early, and we would have skip days to go fish or to the lake and swim. He was my best man at the age of 11 when I got married. My oldest daughter's middle name is the feminine version of his. And the only time I've ever hit anyone in my life was when a punk kid pushed him. I'm sad for you that you have a different relationship than I did with my brother. But I had to tell you that the state of your relationship can't be totally blamed on age. It has a lot to do with who she is as a person. I hope that helps you resolve any feelings of remorse you might have. Story 2. I'm 33 male and I work in a pretty famous university. I'm considered pretty senior and I often interact with the admissions office. All my siblings have gone to this school and we've all gotten in with our grades and activities. My parents had a pretty bad divorce and my siblings and I have subconsciously sided with my mother all these years. My dad's son with his new wife is now 18 and applying to my university. My dad messaged me earlier in the year and asked if I could put in a good word for my half-brother with the admissions office. I'm not really close with my half-brother and stepmom, so I said I don't think I can do much. But I guess my dad thought I said I would at least try. I was actually contacted by a colleague about my half-brother's application, and apparently he was just shy of a percentage for a grade cutoff. He asked me if I thought my half-brother would be a good fit. I responded back saying that I don't believe in nepotism and that he should be evaluated like any other student, and that I'm not close enough to him to give a proper reference. I'm not sure if my colleague read into my tone, but my half-brother has since been rejected. I have had a few angry calls from my dad. Am I the a-hole for not helping my half-brother out? OP, you've asked that your stepbrother be graded like anybody else, and it's not like you or your other siblings had a boost from someone in admissions when you guys got in. It sucks for your half-brother, but having someone else miss out on getting into the university for your brother, who didn't get the grades, would be unfair. Your dad is the a-hole for wanting you to abuse your position. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. However, I do believe you unintentionally tanked the deck by mentioning nepotism. After that, your colleague probably had little choice but to deny him in order to not seem as though this was a factor. Nepotism is one of those ugly things that many people don't have a problem doing but won't admit to. Good on you for not playing that game. Perhaps you could have been a bit more forthright with your father so they know not to include you. Not the a-hole. You were honest, and nepotism is unfair on other kids who are more deserving of a space. The fact that your other siblings got in without your putting in a good word for them tells me that you did not behave in a manner that was particularly inconsistent or spiteful. People get rejected from their first choices all the time, and hopefully your brother got in somewhere else. Your brother was not deserving of a space just because you're there. If he couldn't get in on his own, then he didn't deserve to have that space over someone else who was better qualified. You're the a-hole. You're a bit of an a-hole for what you said and how you said it to your colleague. It definitely came off harsh, and without even meaning to, you ended giving up your half-brother a negative reference. So in a way you did use your influence, but to hurt your half-brother. At the very least you could have just said, "Since he is only my half-brother, I do not know him too well. But I do know he really wants to get into this university. I don't think it was wrong of your father to ask you for your help. It's not unusual for people to try to help their family get jobs or references or whatever. It crosses the line if a family member literally hires a family member for no other reason than they are family. But helping them get their foot in the door is not wrong." Story 3. So for background information, I, 39 female, married my husband, 41 male, Brian, 4 years ago. 3 years after, he got a divorce from his ex. So it's been 7 years since the divorce. She had cheated on him, so he divorced her. I didn't even know him then and was in no way the cause for the divorce. When we got together, he already had 3 children. 18 female, Lily, 13 female, Della, and 8 male, Jordan. Della and Jordan took to me right away. We have a very nice, comfortable bond. Lily doesn't like me. I assumed that she would warm up a year or 2 after I married her dad. I have in no way tried to replace their mom. Brian filed for custody after Della told us her mom had done something not child appropriate in front of them. Well, Brian succeeded. Their mom still can have visits with the kids as long as they request it. It's been 3 years since that happened, and Lily was the only one who requested time with her mom, up until she turned 18 a couple of months ago. I've always encouraged the kids to go see their mom if they want to. Her mom has been trying to poison the kids against me ever since Brian and I got married. Della has even told me some of the things she said about me. Called me a hoe, said I'm the reason their mommy and daddy aren't together anymore, told Jordan I'm the monster under the bed, etc. Lily is the only one who doesn't like me. She's constantly disrespecting me, pulling pranks on me, and flipping me off whenever she gets the chance. Brian tried to punish her, but she doesn't care. Lately, she will just get in her car and drive away. A little while ago, Brian requested that we get family pictures done. That wasn't something I was comfortable doing until Brian and I were further along in our marriage. Didn't want to implode onto the kids and act like I'm their new mommy. But I felt like 4 years is long enough. I asked the kids if they'd like to be in it. I didn't want to force them, and they all 3 said yes. Well, I thought the pictures turned out nice until I got them back. Both Lily and Jordan were making faces at the camera. Jordan had his face scrunched up and his tongue out, and Lily had a middle finger behind her back and was sneering at the camera. I asked Jordan why he made that face when I asked him to smile nicely, and he said that Lily offered him $10 to make a silly face. Well, you know those family pictures are expensive, and since at least 3 out of 5 of us looked nice, I put them up on the wall anyway. I got my brother to Photoshop over the middle finger. When I woke up the next morning, Lily was asking me why I still put the photos up, and I told her I thought they were cute. Well, next thing I know, their mom calls me yelling about how dare I embarrass her daughter like that. I told her I'm not playing this game, that I'm not taking part in an immature prank war. Then I hung up. I do feel bad though. I love Lily and I know how frustrating this all must be. So am I the a-hole? Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. She's old enough to understand that actions have consequences. Really, I think you handled it well, and she's just mad you're not upset. Her plan to hurt you failed, and now there's visible proof that she was being a jerk. It may be good for her to have to face that, to be honest. Good luck, and I hope things get easier for all of you. Not the a-hole. I would ask her why she thought the pictures wouldn't be put up. She knew you paid for them and you asked her ahead of time if she was okay with it. So you figured she showed exactly what she wanted to show. She will protest that she thought she only wanted perfect pictures, and then you can tell her it is perfect. It shows the family as they really are. You love them all even when they're ugly or silly. Maybe that will start to sink in. You're not the a-hole. You're taking the right approach to all of this. You've never stepped out of line and tried to replace their mother. You've always supported them, etc. I think, however, it might be time to sit down with Lily, with you and your husband. 4 years married together and she's still acting like an 11-year-old girl from when her parents divorced. Obviously, her mother is a negative influence on all the kids due to her just being salty about her ex's new relationship. But there's definitely something else influencing her behavior. Honestly, I think the photo thing was genius. You showed her that you don't care what she tries to pull, and you'll always find a way around it.